Why did Abraham wait 25 years to obey God? In Acts 7, we learn that Father Abraham delayed God's first call for 25 years. In Stephen's address to the Sanhedrin, that's the ruling religious elite of his day, is a review of history of the nation of Israel and their resistance and rebellion against God. He charges the council of being betrayers and murderers of Jesus. That, of course, engenders their bitterest hatred and leads to the stoning of Stephen. He's not a martyr because he died. Rather, he died because he was a martyr. The word martyr actually means witness. In Acts 7, 2 and 3, "And behold, he said, Brethren and fathers, listen, the God of glory appeared to our father Abraham when he was in Mesopotamia, before he dwelt in Haran, and said to him, Get out of your country and from your relatives, and come to a land that I will show you. Abraham was commanded to leave his country and kindred, and to go to the land God would show him. But instead, Acts 7:4 says, Then he came out of the land of the Chaldeans, and dwelt in Haran. And from there, when his father was dead, he moved him to this land in which you now dwell." Abraham's original call was from Ur, not Haran. Haran was 50 miles upriver. Abraham was called in Ur, and he moved to Haran and did not move again until 25 years later when his father died. Haran was an ancient city outside the area of Canaan. It is not a part of the Holy Land, and it lies in modern-day Turkey, as can be noted on the map. So Abraham, Genesis 12:4 says, So Abraham departed as the Lord had spoken to him, and Lot went with him. And Abram was 75 years old when he departed from Haran. He didn't really do what God called him to do until his father died. There were 25 years of disobedience. Genesis 11:31 says, And Terah took his son Abram, and his grandson Lot, the son of Haran, and his daughter-in-law Sarai, and they went out with them from Ur of the Chaldeans to go to the land of Canaan. But then it says, And they came to Haran and dwelt there. His sin, however, is blotted out. Hebrews 11:8 through 10 says, By faith Abraham obeyed when he was called to go out to the place which he would receive for an inheritance. He went out, not knowing where he was going. By faith he dwelt in the land of promise, as in a foreign country, dwelling in tents with Isaac and Jacob, the heirs with him of the same promise. For he waited for the city which has foundations, whose builder and maker is God. Stephen points out the unresponsive action to God's first call by God's people throughout all history. Stephen starts with Abraham, as he, in a sense, was the first Jew. Their history was characterized by 1, rejection of God's commands the first time, and then acceptance on the second time. Stephen said, Our fathers, like Abraham, rejected the first call and accepted the second. Joseph was beat up and rejected. He was sold as a slave to Egypt, and then later he was accepted in Egypt as his brothers had to humble themselves before him. Moses, the Egyptian, was sent to deliver the people of Israel, and he was rejected. The men whose lives he saved said, Who made you a judge over us? The next time he came back, 40 years later, after the burning bush experience, he was reluctantly accepted. Stephen told them, You have now rejected and killed Jesus, the Messiah, at his first coming. However, Israel will accept him at his second coming. Zechariah 12:10 says, And I will pour on the house of David and on the inhabitants of Jerusalem the spirit of grace and supplication. Then they will look on me whom they have pierced. Yes, they will mourn for him as one mourns for his only son, and grieve for him as one grieves for his firstborn. Abram's disobedience turns out to be a blessing for you and me. If we learn by his mistake and obey God as soon as we hear his voice, then God in Christ will have called us and called us to be saved and serve him in his church. The sooner we obey and allow Christ to live in us, the better off we are. Hebrews 9:27 says, "And as it is appointed unto men once to die, but after this the judgment." It's never too late to get right with God until the breath leaves our bodies. Then it's too late. In Hebrews 9:28 it says, "So Christ was once offered to bear the sins of many." And notice the second part of the verse, "And unto them that look for him shall he appear the second time without sin unto salvation." Now the question for you today is, are you looking for Jesus to come again? If you are, Jesus says you'll see him, not as judge, but as your salvation at his appearing. If not, you're not looking for him to come, this might just be your second chance to trust Christ. To talk with a counselor about getting right with God, call 1-800-JESUS-2000. That's 1-800-JESUS-2000. Until next time, remember to search the Scriptures. Jesus said, "They are they which testify of me."